Ever wondered what the absolute worst year in human history might be? Greetings everyone. Today, we're unearthing the most catastrophic years humanity has ever faced. From the Black Death that ravaged Europe to a year without summer and the onset of the Dark Ages, we're exploring the depths of human resilience in the face of unimaginable calamities. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. From the ship it spread. In the port of Southampton, England, a ship arrived. This ship brought not only cargo, but also something terrible to this country. The plague, better known as the Black Death, was a deadly disease that could kill infected individuals within days, sometimes even hours. Soon the disease reached London, where on New Year's Day 1349, as many as 200 bodies a day were piling up in mass graves. Originally an outbreak in China in 1334, the plague gradually spread throughout the world through trade routes. In October 1347, a dozen merchant ships from the Black Sea arrived in the beautiful Sicilian port city of Messina. In those days, townspeople usually gathered to see the goods brought by arriving ships. However, on this day, the scene was grim. Nearly all the sailors aboard were dead. A handful clung to life, barely breathing amidst the devastation. Each body was covered with gruesome black boils oozing blood and pus. The people in the harbor quickly realized that this was a dangerous epidemic, and the authorities ordered the ship to leave immediately, unbeknownst to the despairing and dying ship's crew. Upon reaching land, it was already too late. One by one, the townspeople fell ill. Imagine the sheer horror of witnessing everyone around you vomiting blood and succumbing within a day. People in the Middle Ages were also in a panic. Those who developed the disease were abandoned, their bodies either left at home or buried in mass graves. Kind-hearted Sicilian monks died while tending to those suffering from the plague. After this, the plague spread further across continental Europe, and worst of all, some people came to believe that the plague was God's punishment, and the Jewish people, whom they considered heretics, were slaughtered. This is known as the medieval Holocaust. The plague became the largest pandemic in human history, with an estimated 25 to 200 million victims. A year without a summer. From May to August of 1816, an unusually cold spell followed, and on July 4, 1816, a diary entry from that time states that he was confined to my London house all day by hail, and then by rain and snow. Many similar records were kept in his diary that summer. In the diary of a woman in New Hampshire, USA, there is also an account of keeping a fireplace going in July. And she complained that her crops froze, and her livestock died from the cold during June and July. The climate upheaval led to widespread famines in Europe and China, sparking riots in numerous regions. Concurrently, India faced devastating floods. This not only led to crop failures, but also to the mutation of cholera bacteria due to the weather change, triggering a pandemic that claimed 2 million lives. A nightmare caused by unusually cold weather. But what caused this year without summer? It was because of the great eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia in 1815, the year before. This eruption was the largest eruption in history. You may have heard about the famous eruption of Pompeii, where the town was buried in ashes. The eruption of Mount Tambora, exceeding Mount Vesuvius's impact by over 20 times, unleashed catastrophic effects far beyond the devastation of Pompeii. It is said that as many as 90,000 local people died as a result of the massive amount of volcanic ash that spewed out from the volcano. The large amount of ash that fell caused temperatures to drop all over the world. If an eruption akin to Tambora's were to occur today, the resulting havoc could be even more profound, given our denser population and complex global trade networks. And we still cannot predict when an eruption will occur, even today. When it does, we will have to endure and live with the situation. The beginning of the Dark Ages. The year 536 marked the beginning of the worst era in which to live. In this year, a mysterious fog covered Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. The fog blocked out the sun's rays and temperatures plummeted. Not a single day went by with sunshine. Summer temperatures in 536 dropped by 1.5 C to 2.5 C, marking the start of the coldest decade in 2,300 years. Snow fell even though it was summer, crops did not grow, and people starved. The Irish chronicles mention a period from 536 to 539, in which no bread was eaten. In Sweden, eastern and central villages declined and many towns were abandoned. Dark and cold, this period was once called the Dark Ages. The cause of this mysterious phenomenon had long eluded historians and scientists. In 2018, however, the mystery was finally solved by Professor McCormick and his colleagues at Harvard University. An analysis of Swiss glaciers revealed that a major eruption in Iceland at the beginning of the year 536 spread volcanic ash over the entire northern hemisphere. This was followed by major eruptions in 540 and 547. Then, in 541, there was an outbreak of the plague in the Eastern Roman Empire. Justinian's plague, in which people were dying every day, in increments of 5,000, and 1/3 to 1/2 of the population at the time was gone. Those tasked with carrying the corpses often fell ill themselves, exacerbating the spread of sickness throughout the city. According to Procopius, a scholar of the time, a plague struck the country, wiping out most of the peasants. But Justinian showed no mercy, demanding that tribute be paid and the amount owed for the dead neighbors. The Eastern Roman Empire was waging a war at this time. They had to come up with the money to pay for it. This raises a critical question: could our modern world face a similar fate if we disregard the lessons of the past? In addition to famine, war, and climate change, 536 was the beginning of a terrible era. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.